What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic, Crawford versus Canelo. After Crawford knocks out Canelo, will he retire or attempt undisputed at 160 pounds? Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
So when I stop him, y'all gonna say he was too weak.
On my life.
And he stayed at 147.
You would not stop
too
me.
long.
You would not stop me.
Okay.
Crazy. Be careful what you smoking on. Hey.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That's life before Richard, huh? And I got the glitzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
What's up, boxing fan? We're gonna chop it up today. We're back at it again. TBE Boxing with some more boxing analysis. All right. So, right now, supposedly the fight has been confirmed, okay, between Canelo and Crawford for September 13th, right? And so it's definitely going to be on from what we're hearing. Now, we are also hearing that Canelo is supposedly fighting Jake Paul in May or somewhere thereabouts, supposedly. Now, I don't know how much truth, is in that, but that's the rumors that's going around. And from what I'm hearing, it's pretty solid rumors, okay? So that's interesting. I mean, it would be kind of interesting why Canelo would want to take Jake Paul on before fighting Crawford, considering the fact that Jake Paul is not necessarily a real fighter in the sense of, being ranked in the boxing organizations and sanctioning bodies. But, he's more or less an influencer who does YouTube fights, basically. So the fact that Canelo would want to fight him before Crawford, I guess, there's going to be some money involved in that fight, okay? And I guess Canelo is basically collecting all the money he can before he loses to Crawford. Now, I think it's a smart move by Canelo, actually, okay, take on Jake Paul now before fighting Crawford, because we don't know what's going to happen after the Crawford fight. Anything could happen in that Crawford fight. It could be, Canelo might not be able to fight again after that Crawford fight, because we all saw the fight with Errol Spence. Since him and Crawford fought, Errol Spence has not been back in the ring since that fight, right? So, conceivably, it could be the same thing with Canelo, that after Canelo and Crawford fight, maybe Canelo might retire after that fight. I'm supposing it's going to be a rematch, but I guess that would depend on how bad Crawford beat up Canelo. So if he beat him up like he did Spence, then, we might not see a rematch. And I guess it's a smart move by Canelo to say, well, you know what, let me take this big money fight with Jake Paul now, so just in case, it don't go right with me and Crawford, then, I already have my money in my pocket, right? So you can't blame him for that. He's seeing about his money, okay? And, it is what it is. So I guess, and plus, a fight with Jake Paul before the Crawford fight was basically a safe bet. It's not like he's fighting a real fighter, so you wouldn't have to worry, about losing that fight, I would think. And then you never know. Maybe Jake Paul getting a lucky punch in there, but I doubt it. But, again, you never know. So I guess, he's trying to collect that dough first before going up against Crawford, because against Crawford, from his perspective, it's probably a total unknown. So this is what's going down, all right? So supposedly that fight is going to happen, but we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out, if that's really what is next for Canelo, or is it just talk or whatever. I would think that that type of fight you want to do after you retire, not while you're still an active champion, get ready to defend your titles, okay? But, hey, it is what it is. So, in terms of the Crawford and Canelo fight, a lot of people, I think, are going to be shocked at how this fight is going to play out. I think what we're going to see in this fight, we're going to see the best Terence Crawford that we've ever seen. I think he's going to be up for this fight, and he's going to perform. I think that really that Crawford is going to come out there and do his best, because I think he's going to be very motivated to prove people wrong when it comes to this fight. And I already see it. He's very excited about this fight. I would think, and he's really looking forward to it. Now, as for Canelo, I mean, Canelo has been saying that it's going to be an easy fight, this, that, and the other. These are the things that you usually say, with a fight like this, right? A guy moving up 2 weight classes to fight you. Naturally, what you're supposed to say, it's going to be a tough fight? No. Even though he does say that Crawford is a good fighter, which is what you're supposed to say at the end of the day, right? Because you want to promote the fight. So whether or not he believes Crawford is a good fighter or not, that's what he's saying. But I think he actually believes it. So, which is why I think he's making a certain moves to secure his finances before fighting Crawford, because you never know, a fight with Crawford might be a retirement fight for Canelo. That might be his last fight. Crawford might retire Canelo at the end of the day. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, interesting take on Canelo and this Jake Paul situation. Kind of throw like some uncertainty into the situation with him and Crawford in terms of what could happen, because we all know when in time Jake Paul put on Jake Paul put on shows. It's a circus with Jake Paul. So I guess Canelo is going for broke. He's trying to get all the money at this point in taking on Jake Paul. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that. Let him go ahead and do his thing. Just don't lose to Jake Paul. That's all I got to tell you, Canelo. Don't let Jake Paul get in a lucky punch in there and drop you or something like that, which is gonna reduce your value in the fight with Crawford. So but again, at this point, even though it's strong speculation that they're gonna fight Jake Paul and Canelo next, it's strong speculation, so that could happen. Yeah, so a lot of people, are talking about the fight with Crawford and Canelo, and naturally, most of the casual fans and the man fans and the nut huggers and all of the other people like that, are picking Canelo to win. Casual fans that don't really know much about boxing, while most of the boxing insiders are, basically picking Crawford. Okay. When I'm insiders, I mean by people that's in the boxing business, fighters, trainers, promoters. Most of them, I think, is kind of going with Crawford, and some outright and some on the down low, and whatever. So it's gonna be an interesting fight, people, and I really think it's gonna be a competitive fight. I'm pretty sure Canelo is gonna go in there and try his best. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking that Canelo is a little bit, I don't think he's at the level where he can beat a Crawford at this point in his career, if he ever could, because again, Canelo has been fighting, some novices, if I could put it that way. Not necessarily the top fighters. Like he's been fighting. He just fought Berlanga. Berlanga is not exactly a world beater. Okay, he's a big guy. That's about it. Okay, and he's big. So and as we saw, his size didn't really make much difference in the fight against Canelo. Just like Canelo's size won't make much difference in the fight against Crawford, right? So, we saw him fight Munguia, who was a smaller fighter than Berlanga, and we all saw that went, but Munguia put up a pretty good fight until he got knocked down, and then we also saw, excuse me, You know, we also saw who did Canelo fight before? He fought Berlanga, he fought Munguia, and he fought Charlo. Okay, so we saw him fight Charlo. Uh, you know, Charlo didn't really put up much of a fight. He went in there to collect that paycheck. Just like, you know, I mean, let's not, you know, get on Charlo too much, really, because he went in to get that paycheck, just like everybody else that goes in to fight Canelo does. They go in there to get the paycheck. Okay, the only difference is, you know, Charlo was a little bit more blatant with it. You know what I mean? He just, you know, he didn't really give too much effort and just collected the check and disappeared. And we haven't heard from him since then until recently when he came out and started talking about he wants to fight Crawford next. I guess he's looking for a Saudi paycheck now that he got the Canelo paycheck. And since, you know, Crawford is now the money man in boxing, you know, everybody want to fight him, you know. And so we saw Charlo Jamel jump out the woodwork and decide that he wanted to call out Crawford, which most people didn't really take it too seriously, you know, which they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have, because it's, you know, I don't think it's a serious call out by Jamel. Which, you know, I mean, I'm not sure what Jamel is doing back down at 154 pounds. I would think that after moving up to 168 to fight Canelo, you would at least stay up there, or, you know, with all those good fights up there, or at least stay, you know, move down to 160 and stay there. But he went out, he's talking about coming back down to 154, while Crawford is talking about going up to 168. So, you know, Jamel Charlo can't seem to get his shit straight. At the end of the day, you know, when he should have been fighting Crawford at 154, he moved up to fight Canelo. And now that Crawford is moving to fight Canelo, he's moving down to fight Crawford, which doesn't make any sense. You know, if anything, if you really want to fight Crawford, you call him out at 168, which is where he's going up to, or even at 160. But, you know, again, I don't really see that as a serious call out. It's just basically Jamel looking for attention, and, you know, the boxing community, the boxing, you know, it's basically passing Jamel by, because he basically disappeared after he got that money from the Canelo fight. We haven't heard from him since then, you know, which I'm sure he was out there enjoying the fruits of his labor, which you can't blame him. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't just come out and call people out just like that, and you're not really doing anything, and you haven't fought anybody since that fight. Since that fight, Canelo fought twice, and you haven't fought once yet. So, you know, same thing with, you know, same thing with Errol Spence. You know, he hasn't fought once since he fought Crawford. So, you know, I'm not taking Jamel Charlo too seriously. Now, the thing, you know, the question is, how is Canelo, or how is Crawford going to beat Canelo in this fight? I mean, what are the keys to victory in the fight against Canelo by Crawford? Well, I would think that, you know, Crawford is going to have to come in there and first and foremost make sure that Canelo respects his power, which I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for him, because I'm sure he's going to land punches on Canelo, and once Canelo feels those punches, he's going to respect it. Simple as that. It won't take long for him to gain Canelo's respect. Okay, just land one or two punches in the beginning of the fight, and that'll do it. That'll say it all right there, because you know, and you know, if Crawford is, you know, punching harder at 168 pounds, you know, it's gonna be bad news for Canelo. Now, you know, a lot of people are basing this fight with Canelo on the fight with Madrimov, you know, which I hear all these people saying every day, and you know, every time they mention the fight, they say, "Oh, well, you know, Crawford didn't do too good against Madrimov, but he's gonna fight Canelo. He's gonna, you know, he could even hurt Madrimov, but he's gonna knock out Canelo." Well, I mean, you know, I guess these people never heard of the fact that style make fights. Okay, styles make fights. So at the end of the day, the style that Majimov fought Crawford with, Canelo doesn't have that style. And if you want to be successful, I say Majimov was, if you want to call that, if you want to call losing by unanimous decision successful, then he's going to have to adapt the same type of style that Majimov, was using, which is a lot of feints and the whole 9 yards. Which I don't think Canelo is going to be able to do that. And if he did try to do that, he's not going to be able to maintain it. And the problem for Canelo is that he's been fighting all these guys, like Berlanga, Charlo, and these type of people, Munguia, who doesn't really come in there with the intentions of beating Canelo. These guys come in there, to try to go the distance against Canelo or to get their paycheck, and that's basically it. They're not in there with a killer mentality, saying that they're gonna knock out Canelo or die trying, or even they're gonna get knocked out or Canelo gonna get knocked out. It's none of that. These guys, they come in there. They're basically, it's almost like, WWE. They come in, they fight Canelo. They do it respectfully. They don't, try too hard. And Canelo maybe dropped them once or twice, and fight is over, and that's it. So this is they're basically very respectable, respectful of Canelo, and they don't really try too hard to beat Canelo. That's basically what we see that's what we saw in the Charlo fight. That's what we saw in the Munguia fight to a certain degree. Not as bad as Charlo, and it's also what we saw in the Berlanga fight. Okay? These guys, Berlanga was just happy that he was able to go the distance. So was Charlo. Okay? And I'm sure so was Munguia after he got dropped. So, although I think he was the only one that actually made a real effort excuse me, against Canelo, but he just wasn't up to it. I don't think his punching power, had the effect or was able to affect Canelo. Canelo does have a good chin, but again, how is Canelo's chin gonna hold up when he gets hit? And he's not expecting to get hit. Like, they say the punches that you don't see are the one that really, damage you. And there's going to be a lot of those punches from Crawford to Canelo. A lot of punches that Canelo is not going to be able to see. Those punches are going to be coming. And depending on what Canelo is doing in there, he could be getting a lot of punches coming his way from Crawford. And we're going to see, people keep saying, "Oh, Crawford can't hurt Canelo." People are delusional if they believe that Crawford can't hurt Canelo. We're going to see Canelo hurt in this fight more than likely, and we're going to see, if Canelo could, take the kind of punishment that he's going to be taking from Crawford for 12 rounds. Triple G, they talk about Triple G, and Triple G did land some big shots on Crawford. He did land some good shots not on Crawford, on Canelo, and Canelo was able to take those punches. But so was Kell Brook. He went up to 160 pounds to fight Triple G, and Triple G landed some punches on him, broke his eye socket, but he wasn't able to take him out. He couldn't knock him out. Okay, he damaged his eye socket with his punches, but he couldn't knock out Kell Brook. And the same goes for Errol Spence when he fought Kell Brook. He damaged his eye socket, but he couldn't knock him out. And then we saw that Crawford knocked out Kell Brook in 4 rounds. And what did Kell Brook say after that fight? He said he's been in a lot of fights. He's been in sparring session. And he has never, ever in his life been hurt like that than when he got hit by Crawford. So, who really punches harder? Crawford, Canelo, or Triple G? Yeah, so we're gonna all these questions are gonna be answered on September 13th. Okay, because there's a lot of questions that need to be asked, that people have been asking, and a lot of these questions are going to be answered on September 13th. Okay, and the thing I have is, the question I have is, once Crawford KOs Canelo, is he going to retire, or is he going to try to become undisputed at 160 pounds? I mean, if Crawford beats Canelo, I don't see why he should retire. I mean, if he beats Canelo, he can at least get 2 or 3 more big money fights, because if he beats Canelo, then, he's the big money man. He's the draw. He's the A side all the way around. So why not have, another fight at 160? And maybe by then, the 160-pound division might be united. Okay, and then he could just fight 1 or 2 fights and become champion at 100, become undisputed at 160 pounds. I mean, that would be a great thing if that could happen. But again, I mean, if not, I mean, maybe you can fight a Laura at 160, or you can fight Janabek, or maybe you can fight. Well, Charlo doesn't have any belt up there, so it doesn't make a difference. I mean, Jamel Charlo. But you got Janabek, you got Jamal Charlo, but he's not fighting from what I hear anymore. So you got Janabek and Laura up there. Crawford and Laura would be a great fight. So would Crawford and Janabek. So but then again, we don't know how it's going to play out with the fight between him and Canelo, because once he beats Canelo, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a rematch. That is, if Canelo is in any shape to exercise the rematch, or is he going to be like Spence? We saw that Spence was not able to, take the rematch with Crawford because he got pretty beat up in there at the end of the day, and he still hasn't fought anybody up until this point in time, right? So yeah, this fight should be an interesting fight between Crawford and Canelo. Again, a lot of people are focusing on Canelo's so-called size against Crawford, as if size alone is gonna win the fight, when we all see that Canelo is a smaller guy at 168, and he's beating those bigger guys, okay, and they got size over him, but they can't beat him. So what makes them think that because Canelo got size over Crawford, he's going to be able to beat Crawford? It's not going to happen. Okay, at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. And so, we're going to see possibly a KO on September 13th by Crawford against Canelo. Now, this so-called fight between, Canelo and Jake Paul, that supposedly is supposed to happen. I would think that it's a money grab for Canelo, but which I don't really blame him. Go and get that money if you can, and before he fights Crawford, because at the end of the day, if Canelo fights Crawford first and then Crawford beats him, then how much money is he going to get for the Jake Paul fight? Probably a lot less than he would get if he used to fight Jake Paul now, before the Crawford fight. So it's a smart move by Canelo to take the Crawford fight after he takes the Jake Paul fight, because if he take the Crawford fight first and loses, he's not going to make the same kind of money against Jake Paul. He might not even get the fight. So, good move by Canelo. Go ahead and get that money from Jake Paul if you can. Just make sure you don't go in there slacking and jeopardize the fight between you and Crawford, okay? Unless, he doesn't really want to fight Crawford, and that's just another way out. But, we'll have to wait and see. By rights, I think that, Canelo should make easy work of Jake Paul, right? That fight shouldn't go more than about 5 rounds, and that should be that. And then we can see the fight between him and Crawford, which is what the whole boxing community and the boxing world is waiting for. The biggest fight in the last 50 years, Crawford versus Canelo. you know. So yeah, I'm thinking that Crawford is going to win this fight one way or the other, whether it's by knockout or by unanimous decision. Personally, I think it's going to be by knockout. Okay, and you know, I think again the reason he's going to be able to beat Canelo is footwork, hand speed, okay, and general ring IQ. That's what's going to be Canelo. Canelo, you know, again, Canelo has been getting kind of lazy in there, you know, fighting against these big guys who don't really put up much of a struggle against Canelo. They just basically make it easy for Canelo to fight, to win against them, right? So Canelo, you know, is kind of spoiled, basically. You know, you got guys who, you know, they're big targets. They just basically stand there and let Canelo beat up on them, you know. Or when he walks them down, they basically back up against the ropes and put themselves in a position to where Canelo could beat them up, and that's it basically. You know, Canelo doesn't have to do any work, really. He doesn't have to really fight or work too hard to get these wins because these guys already lost the fight before they even enter the ring. And excuse me. What we know for sure is that this is not going to be Crawford, okay? In this fight with Crawford, Canelo is going to have to work like he's never worked before. He's going to have to go in there and he's going to have to try and resurrect the old Canelo, the Canelo that was fighting at 160 pounds, the Canelo that was doing head movement, the Canelo that was, you know, doing boxing. He's going to have to resurrect that Canelo if there's anything left of that Canelo, okay? If there's anything left of that Canelo, he's going to have to bring it into the ring against Crawford. And even if he brings the best Canelo back, I don't think it's going to be enough to do anything against the Iceman, Bud Crawford. So we're going to have to see, you know, how it all plays out. But that's how I see it. I see Crawford taking this fight by knockout, you know, just to be respectful to Canelo. Let's just say he'll win by decision or unanimous decision. But, you know, it's kind of hard to see, for me to see Canelo losing by decision. Okay, we saw what happened with the Bivol fight where, you know, somebody tried to give him the fight. We saw the same thing with Mayweather where somebody had it a draw. So at the end of the day, it might be in Crawford's best interest to just knock out Canelo and get it over with and leave it, you know, leave it out of the hand of the judges. Okay, so that's my take on that. So with that said, people, I'm going to leave it there. Definitely looking forward to seeing this fight. The sooner the fight gets to us, the more we're going to be talking about it. Everybody have their own opinion. You all know what my opinion is. Crawford by KO by the 11th round, unless Eddie Reynoso throws in the towel first. This is how I see it. That's what it is. And with that said, I'm going to leave it there. This is TBE Boxing saying, I'm out.
So when I stop him, y'all gonna say he was too weak.
On my life.
And he stayed at 147.
You would not stop
too long.
me. You would not stop me.
Okay.
You're crazy. What's this been smoking on? Hey.
Got the money for minutes, petty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That's life before Richard, huh? And I got the glitzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.